So now let's talk about some things we really love and hate about Ark Nova. First of all, I really love how balanced the game is in almost all aspects of the game. There's only like a few cards we can say are literally bad and a few cards we can say are too good. And also, we're still discussing to this day which of the 5 card upgrades we should do and stuff. I think it's wonderfully balanced. More importantly, it's just very satisfying to just build enclosures and adding animals to them. You just be happy every time you do it, I feel. It also managed to take some of the really good things about terraforming Mars, some of the engine building aspects, but it's not really mathy, and I think the decision to have a card limit is helping it a lot, because in terraforming Mars it might be too mathy and it might you have like 20 cards in your hand, but here it's a lot more clean, I feel like.
I think both games are fairly mathy. I know Ark gets compared to Terraforming Mars a lot, but I think they are kind of different. Terraforming Mars is more of an engine builder. I played TFM before Ark Nova. I wasn't very good at Ark Nova, like when you're starting out, by applying TFM logic to it, at least.
You say that both are mathy, but it feels like it's in a different way. Like Terraform Mars is a lot like numbers math. Alright, if I get 2 discount here, and I do 2 discount there, and I get 1 rebate here, can I then play this and this and this in this generation? It feels like it's a lot of numbers you have to crunch in your head when you're playing Terraforming Mars. But the math in Ark Nova is kind of different, I feel like.
I guess.
I mean, how is Ark Nova just as mathy as Terraforming Mars?
Yeah, like you have to add numbers together, see like, I need this much money for my animals, I need to do this project, I can get 12 money from that. It's mostly at the end of the game, right?
Yeah. Even though I maybe lose 5 games in a row or something, and I kinda hate the game, it doesn't take more than like a day and I feel like, well, now I really want to start a new game. The replayability is just so good in Ark Nova. Ark Nova is still really deep and really high skill cap, but at the same time, you don't have this huge hand size you have to keep in mind. It's gotten like hate for stealing some concepts from 4 or 5 different games, but I really don't care because I think it works great together in this game.
As a Dota player, there's games that have stolen a lot from Dota, right? And are more successful than Dota, even though I would heavily disagree they're better games than Dota. Especially when it comes to computer games, it's very common for people to just borrow ideas from each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Like with Valorant and Overwatch.
Yeah. There's actually a court case right now where some computer game is stealing some sort of mechanism from another computer game. What I heard
the
is
Pokemon one, right?
It could be, I can't remember. The point is that the community is really hoping they're not successful in this court case, because if they are, it sets like a precedent where all games can sue all other games for copying or stealing their stuff. It's gonna be the end of making new games. If you can't steal a concept from another game, it's gonna be terrible. I think that was the point of it, so...
I'm not sure I talked about this, but there's a lot of well-known Dota players that actually play Ark Nova, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, really? I played with Gods. For a long time he was rank 1, and he's like a famous Dota caster, Gods.
Rank 1 in what?
In Terraforming Mars on the app.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah. He plays...
He plays Ark Nova as well?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think most of the BTS guys play Ark Nova, actually.
Alright, there's a lot of transferable skills from playing Dota and playing Terraforming Mars and Ark Nova, I feel like. There is this joke where a Dota player and a League of Legends player are talking, and the Dota player is like, you know what, I actually think Dota is the better game. The League of Legends player, he couldn't deny.
Yeah. So bad.
Yeah. Is there anything you really love about Ark Nova? I assume there is, because you played it like 1,000 times.
It's very deep, just like Dota is.
Okay.
Like it doesn't look that deep on the surface, but it's like very deep.
Yep. I just know that there's a lot of Ark Nova stuff that I still don't get, which makes it interesting to me, by the way.
Yeah, there's also things I don't understand about the game, which might be why I haven't hit 900 yet.
That's a hell of a statement from a rank 3 and a former rank 1 like you. It really speaks to the fact that Ark Nova is very deep. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about what I really hate about Ark Nova. These are just some small nitpicks that cost me a game once and I just became angry at it. But apparently you can clever back a card to get an X token if you already have X tokens. This I had no idea about, and it kinda screwed me one game because I was at one of these rare games where we were slow playing a lot in the second to last iteration. If you cannot get an extra X token, you're not allowed to just slow play and take an X token back. So here I was just forced to break because I was forced to take either my sponsor or my card section. After I was angry, I kinda saw that it made sense, because if you could do it, then actually you could just infinitely slow play. So maybe it's good they did it like this.
Yeah, I think the game would be horrendous if it wasn't like this, because you could just stalemate, right?
Yeah, it kind of brings me to this point that sometimes in these close games, it's just whoever breaks is gonna lose the game. So it just results in neither player wants to break ever. And it became this weird game of like, well, now I have to throw away X token or some stupid build action, even though I'm only building like a pavilion or something. It kind of gets a little weird and a little annoying, but like you said, it almost never happens. But when it does, it becomes really annoying, I think.
To be fair, I do think we kind of moved away from that, at least on the top level. The games are a lot quicker and more aggressive. I mean, it's part of the game, right? You kind of need to plan around it and recognize when you might end up in a situation like that.
Yeah, for sure. But is it fair to say you even enjoy this aspect, or do you also secretly hate it?
I mean, it's not my favorite part. Like, I probably enjoy it more than I hate it.
I kind of sort of hate it, but it's so it's like this game, because it takes a lot of time, right? I just want to finish the game, and I'm like, sometimes I even just lose patience and I just break, even though I know I'm likely to lose the game because of it, because I can't be asked to just slow play so much. It's boring. Is what I feel.
Yeah, fair point.
When people are getting better at the games, they're always rushing more. That's like a big mind blown in Terraforming Mars, that even in 2-player games, people are just rushing on the highest level. And it's the same now in Ark Nova. And also, I recently started playing Earth, and it seems to me like the best way to play Earth is also just rushing completely. It feels like it's a trend in all of these games that you just want to end as soon as possible is kind of the best way to play the game on a high level.
Yeah. Or in Ark, I'm one of the more...
Stally.
Yeah, I'm one of the more stally. So, like, you don't have to speed every game if you don't really want to.
Yeah, it's about knowing when to slow down and knowing when to speed up.
Yeah.
I guess Ark Nova is different than Terraforming Mars and Earth in this case, because you have this break mechanic. Yeah, it's interesting. The tempo is like up and down in Ark Nova. Here's another little stupid rule I didn't know about. Apparently, if you cover the gate on outdoor area, you lose the effect. It's like,
that just makes sense, though.
Does it make sense?
Not on your map anymore, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I guess so. In real life, if you have this beautiful gate and you actually get rid of it to build a kiosk, I guess it's not really doing the same anymore. Maybe you're right. Maybe it makes sense. I was just really annoyed with it. One game I was setting up to build a beautiful 5-size animal, and then for some reason I couldn't, and then I realized I lost the map effect because I covered this tile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the gate is not there anymore. Maybe I should have reasoned that out, yeah.
Yeah.
And here's a little nitpick that I have. It's kind of annoying how they show requirements in Ark Nova. Maybe it's just me, but I played around 500 games now of Ark Nova, and I still miss up these small little stupid requirements. I feel like it happens so often in Ark Nova for some reason. Maybe it's also my webcam here that was actually at fault, but in this game, I really thought I had the 3-size sea line, but apparently there's also a 4-size sea line. This is probably a bad example, because obviously I should be able to read that it says 4 and not 3, but I mean, in other scenarios, it's just, oh shit, this animal had to be next to 2 water, and it doesn't work like that. Or this animal had this weird requirement and I forgot about it or something. It just happens a lot that for some reason these requirement doesn't really stick. If you compare to Terraforming Mars, here in a big red box, it's the maximum 6% oxygen. And it even says it in the text as well. Oxygen must be 6% or less. For Ark Nova, it's just not as intuitive for me, but maybe it's just because I'm used to playing more Terraforming Mars.
I think so. I never had a problem with it, even when I first started the game.
But you still mess it up, right? Because I still to this day mess it up sometime. You never? No?
No, I don't think I ever mess it up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. The only thing I mess up is like when I build a 3-size and I don't put it next to water.
Okay.
But that's like map related, right? Like I know this 3-size animal requires a water, but then I put it not next to water. I think there is water at the spot I'm putting it.
I think I had a game the other day where I built a 5-size, and then the 5-size wasn't next to water or rock or something, and then I couldn't build the animal, so I just had a naked 5-size for the rest of the game. Like, you would agree with me that if you mess up like this, the game is basically over in Ark Nova if you're playing a good opponent. What I kind of mean in Ark is like, here's a handshake down here, and then the tax is over here. But then there's also a requirement next to the number. And then on top of it, sometimes there's even more requirements next to the number, next to the water, next to something. But yeah, to be fair, in Terraforming Mars, it's also not completely great, because on AI Central, there's also a requirement up here next to the number. And then there's also a requirement down here that you have to remember you have to reduce your energy production. But for some reason, it makes more sense to me in Terraforming Mars. In Ark Nova, I just tend to mess it up a lot.
I wouldn't agree, but maybe someone in the comments would agree.
Yeah, I would imagine so, but it could be just me who's stupid. I'm not denying that at all. I kind of like the break mechanic, but especially when I was starting out the game, it's very hard for me to know if I have a good game or not, because I can't really look at the score to see if I have a good game or not. It doesn't really matter. I can't even look at the number of turns, because even though I had a 32 turn game, it could still be that I had a good game because I just slowed down and slow played at the right time. It's kind of hard for me to like compare two games of Ark Nova. When am I doing well and when am I not doing well? I think it's really hard when you are beginning at the game. Do you feel the same way, or now you just have so much experience that it's you always know if you are good or not? Probably.
Yeah, I mean, from the experience, I can tell how I'm doing. But like, even if you're 20 points behind, it might not be as bad as you think.
Yeah. If I know that I messed up, I can improve for next game. But in Ark Nova, I don't really know if I messed up because the score doesn't tell me, the number of turns doesn't tell me. I don't really know if I played the game optimally. Oh yeah, this is one of the things that annoyed me the most when I started up the game. All the other tracks are starting at 0, and for some reason this starts at 1, and I think it's like a thematic thing. You always have some sort of reputation or something. Or maybe it's a balancing thing that they wanted to end at 15 because it's a nice pretty number. I don't know what it is, but it really annoys me. It took me a while actually to realize that I only need 4 reputation to get the upgrade, because you start on 1 instead of 0. So yeah.
It's hard to try to start a zoo without any reputation.
Yeah, I guess it's a thematic thing maybe. But then again, can you start a zoo without tickets? Don't you need to have your first customer before you get reputation? Think about it.
I mean, the reputation gives you the customers, right? Sometimes you start with 1 appeal if you're not first player.
Yeah, alright.
Conservation makes a lot of sense to start at 0. Appeal is like, your zoo is not very appealing if it's empty. But at least people know it's there.
I guess I'll concede this point, but thematically, maybe it makes sense, but mathematically it's kind of annoying. When you're playing it in real life, which is what I was doing at the beginning, it's really hard to know who's winning and who's not winning, because then you have to see how far they are on the victory point track and how far they are on the appeal track. It's a bit harder to keep track of. On the app, they did it so you're playing to 100 points, but it's not even 100 points you're playing to. What is it, 114 points or something? And that's just how it works out, that this is the point where they would cross in the real-life version of it. It is a little bit confusing, I think. Alright, let's hear it. What do you really hate about Ark Nova?
I guess there's 3 things, but most importantly, I think University and Partner Zoo on the CP track as a reward is just way too strong. It's just so much better than the other bonuses. So like, there's some games that's just decided from opening hand if there's a University on 5 and a Handshake on 8, and the other rewards suck. It's gonna snowball so hard if you can get 5 CP early. So I think that's atrocious. The second thing I hate is species diversity and habitat to a certain extent as well, because they're very easy to get 5 CP from. It just becomes a rush for it. They also make rhinos very strong, because you can always manage to get species or habitat. You don't really have to try that hard. Like, the rhinos wouldn't be as strong as they are. And I also hate some of the cards are just bad. There's not a lot of bad cards. You might draw 2 of the bad cards and 2 cards you don't have the requirements for.
What are the worst cards in your opinion? Sea Turtle Tank? Expert Europe? Or...
Yeah, Sea Turtle Tank. It's getting a major buff in Marine Worlds.
Yeah.
I think it's actually going to be very strong in Marine Worlds.
Some of the base projects are also getting reworked, or at least balanced a bit in the expansion, right?
Some endgames are getting rebalanced. Some conservations you can draw from the deck is getting rebalanced.
Yeah. What other cards are really bad in Ark Nova?
Okabe Stable, 3-range New World Monkeys.
World Monkeys, there's no redeeming factor for that one, I don't think. It's very rare. You have to have like the monkey based project, and it just has to line up perfectly for you to play this card, otherwise it's just trash. Yeah, I agree. I hate that more than Sea Turtle Tank, to be honest.
Every card has a number for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's actually like the last number in the base game. So like, it's probably something they just threw in.
But I will give them some credit, because it seems like they're not too arrogant to not fix their mistakes like other developers. So they are fixing some of their mistakes in the expansion, buffing some things. And I don't remember if they're actually nerfing Species 5 or...
No, they're not.
Alright, so we can still hate them in that case.
Yep.
But I would say, to their credit, I don't really think, other than the stupid monkey card, which I hate, I don't really think there are any cards that are unplayable. I think the Sea Turtle Tank, the reason it's bad is because of sunbathing. The reptiles themselves also have sunbathing, so you just get too much sunbathing, so it's a little bit awkward. I would still play it sometimes. I would also play Okabe Stable sometimes, especially on maps where I really want to get to the other side to get some bonus or something.
But that's the funny thing about Ark Nova. The bad cards are extremely, extremely good when they're good. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's the case.
Yeah, there are niche scenarios where they are just beautiful.
Yeah, and they're like the best card you can possibly have for some reason. There's like very niche uses of all of them.
Yeah, even the monkey, right? Because I think on the old Silver Lake, you could like cheese, only build in the right side, and then you'll get like 1,000,000 points from the monkey card.
Yeah.
Even that card can be used sometimes, but I would say that I tried it once and I didn't like it. It's very restrictive to only build so little.
You need other cards to synergize with them, with the bad cards.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking next put on Europe. I don't think the effect is so bad, I just think the endgame is unplayable. I think a fun way to fix it would be that they just said that it gives 2 shields or even 3 shields if you fulfill it. That would be kind of fair because it's so hard to fulfill, and now you would actually play the card and play to get it. Even 2 shields might be enough. That would be a fun way to fix that card so it's not so bad.
Sure.
There's also the emo card. Maybe one of the worst cards. It gives you a free aviary, like you talked about. It's hella expensive, and also even if you get the free aviary, then it's kind of awkward because you're already invested 2 Australian tags to get it, and none of the birds in the aviary has Australian tags, so it's anti-synergy. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh! I thought about one more thing I hate. I hate first play advantage.
Oh yeah. We talked about this the last time. It's
yeah.
It's a really huge advantage, and you even said
it can be. It's not every game.
And you talked about the fact that they have 1 ticket is even kind of stupid, because if you take some of the sponsor cards with 4 tickets, you even put yourself in the range of getting pilfered.
Yep.
Yeah, that's annoying. I do want to say that BGA is doing such a good job on Ark Nova, and 11,000 players playing Ark Nova at the end of the July season. Maybe it's even gone up in the last season here. Good job to those guys. It's incredible that so many people are playing Ark Nova, and they're doing a great job with this app, I think.
Yeah, I believe it's the most popular game on BGA.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Any Ark Nova content creators you would recommend?
It's basically emu friends,
Yeah.
Sam and me, I'd say.
Yep.
There's some other people as well. I'm sure they do good content, but they just don't have quite the game understanding like Sam or me has.
Yeah, I can see that. It's kind of the same reason that I wanted you to co-host me here, because I felt I wasn't good enough at Ark Nova to make this strategy guide without you. If you want to know more about Ark Nova, if you want to learn more, I don't think I'm gonna do a lot more Ark Nova content on my channel, so you should definitely watch these people we just talked about. Here are some of the videos that they could watch. I'm gonna link everything in the description. It's not only a courtesy, I say that you should watch JD and Sam. They're literally some of the best players in the world, and you do learn a lot when you actually watch these guys stream. And they stream a lot, both of them. Thank you so much, JD. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Maybe don't expansion, because I really don't have the experience to say something clever.
I also had the thoughts about Marine Worlds, and JD, he was kind of nice. He was like, you know what, I haven't played a lot of Marine Worlds, so I don't really want to do this segment because I don't really have an opinion on it. Even a player as strong as JD is still like humble that way. It's kind of cool. But anyway, we don't need him. I'm just gonna share my own thoughts. But yeah, so this is kind of sad. I was really looking forward to like flexing my real life Ark Nova in front of JDan, because my real life is like pimped up with all sort of Etsy stuff and stuff. I guess maybe if someone watches this, they can be jealous instead of JD. That's also okay. Here's how the new expansion is looking like, how it's influencing the game in terms of the new text and so on. So shout out to Sam, and I just want to say I really love this idea that the aquariums are equal to a water tag. I didn't get this to begin with. I think it buffs all the water animals. It's kind of nice that even if you're not going for fish, you can still just get a small aquarium to get that water tag. I think it's a really cool idea. I like this a lot. And speaking of Sam, he did a tier list of the strongest animals in the expansion, and it kind of turns out I'm in complete agreement for the most part. I'm gonna link his tier list in the description. We both agree that this Horse Whisperer card is stupidly good. What I didn't realize to begin with is this card by itself has a petting zoo animal tag, and if you manage to get all 3 petting zoos in your petting zoo, and you also played this card, you get 8 gold and also you get 9 tickets. It's a really strong card, I feel like. And I think it's a very welcomed idea, because I think the petting zoo faction was a little bit weak in the base game. I think it's very cool that they're buffing it with this card. There's also this Amazon house. It is hard to get down because of the shape and there are a lot of requirements, but like it's completely free. It's a sponsor card. It's definitely really strong. I think it's very comparable to the Sumatran Tiger. And for reference, the Sumatran Tiger, it requires a 4 enclosure and 26 gold. Yeah, this Amazon house is definitely a card to look out for. Then there's this Landscape Gardener card. Every time you build a pavilion, you just get a free X token, and then as soon as you play the card, you also get some tickets. So this card is very, very strong. I kind of like the feel of this card, because as a player who really enjoys upgrading build and like spam the entire map with kiosks and pavilion, this is very cool. I like this card a lot. This publications card is also kind of insane. Like, you do have to get some science tags for this to be worth it, but it's definitely a lot of gold you can save by playing this card. Even though you have to get some science, it's okay. It's still like incredible value. I also like the idea that this card is kind of buffing the reason to upgrade Association. And like we talked about today, Association is one of the least likely upgrades you're gonna do, maybe after cards or something. So I like it. I think it's cool. Very cool card. Yeah, and then of course these two sharks here. I think they are intended to be strong. I like this idea, the shark attack. It's a little bit high rolling and low rolling, but you can play it at an opportune time when there's a big animal out there because you get half of the tickets. And also the fact that this shark attack here is actually a reef effect, so it applies every time you get another reef card. So this can definitely get out of control. There is the other shark attack card here. Sam also put it at S tier, and I think he's maybe overrating it a little bit. Personally, I think it's kind of fair because it's so expensive, but this gives 2 shark attacks. And of course, if the right cards are up there, it can get completely out of control. But then at the same time, how likely are you to get 2 good targets for this at the same time when you're playing it? For me, it kind of feels like it's a little bit like an elephant. It's good, but it's not every game I would play it. Also, the franchise business here. Once again, I really love the fact that they're buffing kiosks and pavilion, because I'm one of those retards who just likes to upgrade build and build kiosks and pavilion everywhere. And it has the same in-game as Expert on Americas, and I think it's fairly comparable to Experts to Americas. And just imagine the synergy if you start with these 2 cards together. Oh my god, that's juicy. And then in the end here, I just wanted to mention some of the cards I also really hate about the expansion. Like, there is this one, this whole mechanic that you get like a cube to put in your card or something. It took me like 10 games to understand what it did, and then still I don't really need this mechanic. It doesn't really add anything to the game. So I will say there's a little bit of saving grace here, because you get some gold by playing a lot of earth tags, so it's also kind of a way to buff earth tags with this card. However, the end game is kind of interesting. You get a point if you did 3 donations, so once again they're trying to buff this idea of making upgraded association a little bit better. That's kind of cool at least. Reconstruction, another element I kind of hate. I mean, it's... oh my god, this is gonna be like analysis paralysis on drugs or something. So pretty much what it does is you don't get placement bonuses anymore, but you can reposition 3 of your buildings. So if you messed up your map, you can do it in a different way. I imagine this is gonna be absolute hell to code on PGA, but also in real life, you're gonna take your little things off of the map and then you're gonna place it somewhere else and you're gonna mess it up. I don't know, I feel like they didn't need to do this. I think this is just gonna create more annoying scenarios than what it's worth. And I don't even think it's bad. I think it's a good card actually, but I just don't like the concept of it. I will say it can create some really funny situations. Shout out to this guy Electrold, who found the infinite money glitch. So I assume it's legal what he's doing. He's using reconstruction to take side entrance away from the border and put it into the middle, and this way he can create this completely insane money machine. So I do appreciate that it can create some funny situations like this, but then again, now you're gonna have to argue with the other players around the table. Well, is it really possible to remove side entrance? Because in side entrance, it strictly say it has to be next to the border and stuff. So in real life, it wouldn't make any sense at all, because the side entrance, then you would have to have a tunnel, I guess. I guess there could be a tunnel for side entrance, but mechanically in the game, I could see that it makes sense, because technically it's only when you place this it has to be next to 2 borders. But you know, it creates a lot of controversy, a lot of discussions, and I just don't think this card is worth it, to be honest. So this is why I don't really like this card. The only thing I'll say about these new upgraded action cards is I kind of both love them and hate them. I guess on the plus side, they do add something to the game. It's like very cool that they're shaking up the game a little bit. You can create some new strategies out of it, but it will get a bit messy. That's all I'm gonna say, especially if you're trying to play the game on a high level and you want to play your turns optimally, because I guess it's gonna be hard to see when your opponents can like dig something out of the hat with these new association upgraded cards. I guess you just have to learn the cards and have to look at the cards your opponents are given, and you have to take that into account. So it is a learning curve, I guess. Maybe it's not so bad. I think the good of these cards outshine the bad of it, so I'm really looking forward to it. Regarding the balancing, I'm not really sure. I haven't played with these enough. So when I look at this tier list, it seems to me like some of the cards are way too strong and some of the cards are way too bad, but I guess there is drafting at the start of the game when you are choosing these cards. So I will say that this card that makes you be able to dig every time you take a card section, like some of this stuff, it's a lot better than it sounds, and you have to play with it before you understand it, but it can get really out of control. If you want to know more about Marine Wells, just go watch his video. It seems like that Marine Wells is gonna make it to PGA, I don't know, maybe next season. If they're starting to do alpha of it now, I guess it's pretty far along, so that's exciting at least. I actually thought I would retire from Ark Nova now after this video series, but you know, if Marine Well comes to PGA, maybe I'm gonna give it another shout. And if you want to learn more about the Marine Worlds action cards, I recommend you watch these videos. So the print screen here to the left that looks nice and orderly and everything is beautiful, that's Sam's, and the one that looks like an absolute train wreck, that's of course JD's video. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share my thoughts on the expansion here, and once again, you should watch JD, you should watch Sam. They did some much better video about the expansion if you want to learn more. But none of us has actually played the expansion so much because it's not on BGA yet, but when it hits BGA, I think it's gonna change everything. It's gonna be very interesting if nothing else. Good and bad. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay, so sorry, I just put food in my mouth. I'm not. Should I chew first? I think I need to chew it out.
Sure. Whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.